Welcome to Talk to Experts Tuesday. As everybody's starting to pile up, I'll just introduce myself. My name is Sue Macaluso, and I am the Senior Community Specialist here at Qlik. Today's topic for Talk to Experts is Qlik NPrinting. With me today, I have this amazing team of panelists, along with Jamie Gregory, who's also an amazing panelist. And before we get started, I'm going to turn the call over to Jamie, and she's just going to go over some housekeeping rules with you, introduce the panelists, they'll introduce themselves, and then we'll get started. And then this way you'll know what to expect for the chat today. So we're very excited. So Jamie, I'll just turn it right over to you.
Great, thank you, Sue. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Talk to Experts Tuesday. We are so thrilled to have all of you here today. As Sue mentioned, my name is Jamie Gregory, and I will be your moderator for this session. So this webinar series was designed to give all of you an hour with a few of our product experts. You can use this time to ask them questions about the topic at hand. It also gives you an opportunity to get to know us a little bit. So we do have a few housekeeping items for today. Everyone is muted, so please use the Q&A panel to ask your questions. We will not necessarily be using the panel to respond to your questions, as we're going to try to get to all of your questions live today. But if we don't get to your question, or if it's something that may take some time to research, it will be posted in the Qlik community along with the recording. And I'll show you where that is in a little while. So if you've hopped on to get your question answered and then you have to leave, that's totally okay. You will be prompted for a survey, so please just take a minute to fill that out and give us any feedback on how we can improve these sessions for you or another topic that you would like to see. Any and all feedback is much appreciated. If you're not prompted, you can email us any feedback at digital@qlik.com, and I'll put that email address in the chat for you in a little bit here. Also, you will see a QR code on the slides today, and that QR code links to the registration page for our next session, and we'll talk more about that at the end of the session. So again, please keep in mind that even though some of our panelists are within Qlik support, we will not be able to answer questions regarding a specific open case. We do ask that you keep the questions related to the topic at hand, which for today, of course, is Qlik NPrinting. So again, use the Q&A panel below to get your questions in. And while we wait for you all to enter in your questions, I'll go ahead and take this time to introduce everyone on the panel today. So joining me today, I have Andrea Bertazzo, Senior Technical Support Engineer, Frank Savino, Principal Technical Support Engineer, Ruggero Piccoli, Test Engineer, Johnny Poole, Master Principal Analytics Platform Architect, and Andrew Kruger, Product Manager. So, Andrea, will you please go ahead and introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Andrea. I'm working in Qlik since the last 5 years, I guess. And previously, I was working with a former Visubi team that developed the Imprinting, at least the first versions of Imprinting. I'm now in the support team. And yeah, so we have probably already talked together about some questions or problems that you have already raised with us. That's all about me.
Great, thank you, Andrea. How about you, Frank?
Oh, I came along to Qlik with Vesuvi and Ruggero and back in 2015, and yeah, it's been no looking back ever since.
Great. And Ruggero?
I am working with Imprinting since the beginning because I'm one of the founders, and so it's a long time. I worked as support, or now I'm doing tests and contributing on the community.
That's great. Thank you. How about you, Johnny?
Hello, everyone. This is Johnny Poole. I am a pre-sales architect. I've been with Qlik since 2011 and have a specialty in Imprinting. I'm based in Toronto, Canada. Thank you.
Oh, I had no idea you were in Toronto, Johnny. Awesome. And Andrew.
Yeah, a warm welcome to customers and partners to today's session. Thanks for joining us. So I'm up in Ottawa, Canada, actually just down the road from Johnny. Nice. And yeah, I certainly excited about the session today. I think you to the customers and partners out there, I think you've already heard the intro from my peers, and I get to work with them on a daily basis, and they truly are the most knowledgeable people with this product. So take the opportunity, take the hour, ask them lots of good questions, and hopefully you find this an enriching session. So thanks again for joining us, and let's dig in.
Great, thank you, Andrew. Just real quick, my name again is Jamie Gregory. I am a technical support engineer here at Qlik. I am located in Raleigh, North Carolina, and have been with Qlik for about 3.5 years. I live out in the Qlik community, where you can mostly see me in the Qlik Support Updates blog, where I communicate about updates, critical issues, share articles and videos, and just kind of let you know what's happening in general with Qlik support, as well as the Qlik support programs like this program, Talk to Experts Tuesday, Support to Expert Thursday, Qlik Fix, and Featured Content Friday. So let's go ahead, let's jump right in. All right, first question. Is it possible to use the Imprinting on-demand feature in an environment with external users that are not part of an AD in the domain where the Imprinting server resides? Users are authenticated through Auth0. Also, is it possible to have the Qlik NPrinting server outside of the domain in a DMZ where the sent server also is, as long as they both can communicate with an Active Directory within a domain? In this last option, we also need to use Auth0 for authentication and use the on-demand feature. Thank you. So kind of a long question. If you guys need me to repeat anything, just let me know.
Yeah, there are a lot of questions together in the same question. Starting with the first one. The first one is, if I remember correctly, is it possible to use to have users not belonging to Qlikview or QlikSense working with on-demand? Am I right?
Yep, in an environment with external users that are not part of an AD in the domain where the Imprinting server resides.
Actually, to use Imprinting on demand, it's necessary that the user is authenticated, is part of the Qlikview users. It depends also. It's not clear in this case if you are using on demand for QlikSense or for Qlikview, but in any case, it is necessary that the user is a user in Imprinting and is also a user in Qlikview and in QlikSense. Well, actually, you are connecting to our application and you are performing some selections. Those selections are sent to Imprinting. And in order to generate the report and send it to the right user, it is necessary that we have a correspondence between the user in Imprinting and the user in Sense on Qlikview. So if I understand correctly the question, the answer is no, it is not possible to do this at the moment.
Okay. And then the second part of the question, is it possible to have the Qlik NPrinting server outside of the domain in a DMZ where the Sense server, oh, it looks like they're using QlikSense. So as long, sorry, let me just start over. Is it possible to have the Qlik NPrinting server outside of the domain in a DMZ where the Sense server also is, as long as they both can communicate with an Active Directory within a domain? In this last option, we need to use Auth0 for authentication and use the on-demand feature.
Yeah, that's a good question. Generally, we suggest to have Imprinting server and engines on the same domain as QlikSense server. If I understand correctly, this is not the case. Mm-hmm. Well, it should be possible to do this, even if it is quite complicated. It is necessary, though, that the user that is running the Imprinting services, in particular the Imprinting engine service, belongs to the same domain as QlikSense. We have an article about this. I should be able to find it somewhere, but yeah, it is necessary that you configure this on your own.
Okay. All right. Does anyone else have anything to add before we move on to the next question?
Just that, this is Johnny. It's just that it's unsupported to put QlikSense and Imprinting on two servers that are not on the same domain controller.
Okay.
So that's a support requirement. So the answer is it's possible, but it wouldn't be supported.
Exactly.
That's an excellent point. Thank you, Johnny.
And it's this, and then the second part, which is adding the extra feature of on demand. The QlikSense on demand doesn't ship with a seamless sign-on to a non-Windows provider. So for it to be seamless, you'd have to have, again, the users have to be logged into the Windows domain controller to make it work. If they're not, they'll just get double prompted. They'll get asked to, as they hit the on-demand button, they'll be asked to log into Windows on the Imprinting side. So if you want it to be seamless, it's got to be on a Windows domain controller. If you absolutely can't do that and you need a custom solution, it is possible to build an extension that will use an alternate authentication, which is JWT. And you can deploy JWT and not for non-Windows security. And it does work, but it's custom work. It's outside of customer support. And Qlik services have done this for various customers in the enterprise space and small business space.
Okay, great. So it kind of sounds like too that maybe this person should reach out to their account manager and kind of talk with their account team and get some more information and possibly get an engagement with consulting or services to get if this is required in your environment.
Yes, absolutely. And it's not planned in the roadmap to change this. So if you need a solution for this, definitely reach out.
Yep, perfect. Great. All right, next question. I'm interested in configuring the Imprinting designer correctly.
Yeah, that's easy. There is nothing to configure. Actually, you must be sure that the machine where you are connecting and where you install Imprinting designer is able to reach the Imprinting server. That's all. You don't have to configure anything. Imprinting designer opens automatically when you edit your report.
I'll just add one thing. I would just add one point to that. It must be the same version of the Imprinting server that you're connecting to. If it's not, then you may have problems opening the designer and so on. And even further to that, if you're planning on having making MS Office reports using Word, PowerPoint, or Excel, you must also install a supported version of Microsoft Office. That's if you want to design those types of reports. Of course, you don't need Office if you're only planning to develop, for example, Pixel Perfect or HTML Office reports. Sorry, just HTML reports and Pixel Perfect. You don't need a Office for that. So that's a full end-to-end answer.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. When will Imprinting Pixel Perfect library have an update?
Yeah, that's for me. It's Andrew. So I do not have a time for an update of the library at this point.
Okay, no problem. Next question. Is it possible to set a condition when a report is running using the Imprinting? Is it possible to set a condition when a report is run using the Imprinting on demand button? Example, I would like a user to be able to run a payment report on demand from a QlikSense app, but they should only be able to run the report if one customer is selected. How would I achieve that?
So for that, you in QlikSense, when you add the on-demand button onto the sheet, you want to actually place it into a container rather than directly on the sheet. So first add the container and then add the button. And on the button, on the container, there's a property called show hide condition. And you could use probably count distinct or get selected count or get possible count. So a few QlikSense expressions that would check whether your selection state has one user selected or one user in the selection state. And that condition would drive the container to hide or show the button.
Okay, perfect. Just doing a quick Google search here just for container show hide ClickSense. And we do have some videos out there about the show hide container extension. So you might want to take a look at that as well and just see if that helps you out. I can post a link in a minute in the chat for you to take a look at everything. All right, let's see. I'm not able to do banding of reports in Imprinting. I'm trying to do it in Pixel Perfect. Please help.
Yeah, the question is quite, yeah, it's not clear what the problem is. We have several tutorials about Imprinting Pixel Perfect in our help page that you can follow. Is there any specific problem, or is there any specific goal that you want to reach?
Okay, perfect. So yeah, if there's some more information that you can provide about, you know, what's happening or what you're trying to do specifically, or if you're running into any roadblocks, just let us know, and our experts can try to give a more concrete answer. All right, and just a reminder, everyone, please use the Q&A option instead of the chat to ask your questions. They're just a little bit easier for us to manage in the Q&A panel as opposed to the chat. So next question, is it possible to connect multiple ClickSense apps to one Imprinting report, correct?
Yes, it is possible. And you can also mix charts and objects from ClickSense connections and from Qlikview connections on the same report.
Okay, great.
And you can also create in the same Qlik NPrinting app, you can connect, for example, the same ClickSense app multiple times.
Okay, perfect. We are just rolling through these questions. You guys are too fast. All right. So, how to schedule Imprinting task after reloading ClickSense task for the same connection, meaning Imprinting task will run as soon as ClickSense task is complete. I have an ID in ClickSense app and would like to apply the filter to Imprinting report based on selected by user ID, not hard-coded. How do I do this?
That's two questions. The first question regarding the reload can be done using APIs, and I put a link into the chat or the let's see here, into the question Q&A panel at the very top. The second one, let's see again here. Have an ID in ClickSense app, would like to apply a filter to the report. What does that mean, not hard-coded? Like a dynamic filter? So I guess that's what I'm going to assume they are talking about, dynamic filters. And if so, then yes, you can create a dynamic filter and apply and use the evaluate feature when you're creating the filter in Imprinting, and use that filter so that if you always want to use last year, you can do like a year bracket now, bracket, close bracket, -1, something like that. So that's a very simple example, but if that's what you mean by not hard-coded, then
yeah,
that's...
she said dynamic in the chat.
Yeah.
Perfect. I hope that helps. If you have any more questions about that, just let us know. Okay. Next question, is it possible to use the Imprinting on-demand feature? Oh, this one I already did. Never mind. I have a special formatting applied to a pivot table in an Excel template. This works great when the report type is set to Excel in the published task. However, if it is set to PDF in the published task, the formatting gets partially applied, and actually ignores or overwrites other settings. Is this the expected behavior, and is there a workaround other than creating two templates?
Sorry, can you say, I apologize, I was writing another answer. Can you just
Yeah, no problem.
repeat and?
It's in the answered section on the Q&A too, Frank. So if you want to take a look at it, I can read it again.
Oh, okay.
I have special formatting applied to a pivot table in an Excel template. This works great when the report type is set to Excel in the publish task. However, if it is set to PDF in the publish task, the formatting gets partially applied, and actually ignores or overwrites other settings. Is this expected behavior? Is there a workaround other than creating two templates?
I partially answered to this question. What I remember is that this question remember me an issue that we fixed in one of the recent version. And then the second, so the first thing to check is if you are using a recent version of Imprinting. Don't remember, I have to check the release notes to see the exact version where we solved it. And the second is check if you are using Science Teams and if the team is completely supported. So we need to do a deeper investigation, but about this.
Okay, perfect. In the FAQ, I'll put what version that was fixed in for you, so you have information in that in the FAQ. All right. Let's see. Can we add users using AD group to Imprinting instead of adding them individually or by using import tasks?
So this one is about LDAP, correct? Jamie, is the one, the question related about importing via LDAP. In this case, you can use LDAP filters and write them with the LDAP syntax. Imprinting will send the filter request to the LDAP server and retrieve the answer. So about how to write the filters, you have to refer to the LDAP documentation. But it is possible. You can filter by group or by users, as you prefer.
Perfect. And we did provide the link for that. So I'll go ahead. I'm not sure if everyone can see the questions and answers on the call. So I'll just go ahead and put it in the chat for everyone if you want to see the documentation on that. All right. So the next question is how to set conditions on cycle reports. So for example, dimension contains ABC, and then cycle over dimension, and the condition is create the report for B only if any KPI is over 10.
Okay, could you please repeat the question?
Yeah.
Oh,
wow,
these are very detailed questions. I like them. All right, so how to set conditions on cycle reports. For example, dimension contains ABC and cycle over dimension. The condition is create the report for B only if any KPI over 10.
So yeah, conditions can be applied to any reports, so also to cycle reports. The question is not very clear because I don't understand what is the relation between the KPI and the field that is a cycle. If there is no relation, just create a condition as you create normally for any reports. So you can use, for example, formula, the same formula that you use in the measure for the KPI, and place this formula in the condition. So you can set it. You can set the report to run only if the formula is greater than 10.
You create the condition, but you can either report, depending on how you want the condition applied, as Andrea suggested, you can either apply it at the report level or at the task level. So depending on how, at what stage of I mean, you would have to try it and see which one works better for you. But yeah, that's exactly right, Andrea.
Please note that you can apply conditions to tasks or to reports. So I think in this case, you will need to apply the condition to report when you add it into the task. So the condition will be evaluated for every value of the cycle. How it works is explained in detail in the help site. So it can be tricky to decide if you want to apply the condition to the task, to the published task, or to the specific report.
Yes, generally, when you're working with cycles, it's also useful to consider using filters to select specific values in the cycle and have only some reports for specific value in the fields. Maybe that was more related to the questions that has been raised.
Yeah, this is Johnny. I feel that might be tricky to do because it's not just a filter. It's a conditional filter, for values under a certain number. Now, what's the closest thing I can think of is you create a chart that only shows rows in the chart, like the straight table for when the value is greater than the number you want. And you can use a chart like that to drive a level or a page, but I don't think you can use it to do a cycle, which is really what you're after, combination of dimension values plus an expression. You could do it for levels and pages, but I don't think you could do it for cycles per se. So I feel like you could create a multi-page document the way you want for pages, or you could do it with levels as well, but I don't know if you could split the documents with cycles with the same criteria. I think we'd have to come up with an alternate approach for that. That might be a good one for community, where people could mull on the solution and maybe propose some solutions.
Yeah, I was just going to suggest that. So if you don't mind, I'll go ahead and share my screen. So we're about halfway through already, if you can believe that. Let me go ahead and share. So I'm going to go ahead and take this time. I'll show, in the community where you can go. So if you're out here on community.qlik.com, if you go here to forums, data analytics, Qlik NPrinting, Qlik NPrinting discussions, you can go ahead and post here. Maybe provide, if you can, some samples of what you're trying to get, include some more information. And you would just go here to post a question, and you can enter anything in. You can attach any files that you may have. And like Johnny said, maybe, it'll get some traction so that people can kind of, help you out with that one, once there is a little bit more information. Also, just to show everyone,
Jamie,
go ahead.
Jamie, it's Andrew. I just wanted to, you're showing a help screen, I think, at the moment.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. You might want to just pivot to the other browser and if you can go through that flow again, that'd be great. And if I could ask you also, just while you're showing that, if you might be able to show just the ideation section.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Sorry about that, everyone. My screen's got flip-flopped. All right, so this is where you can go. So community.qlik.com, you would then go here to forums, data analytics, Qlik NPrinting, and then Qlik NPrinting discussions. So you can go here, enter in your post, just click here, post a question. And like Johnny said, we'll get some eyes on it. All right, and then the next thing Andrew wanted me to show is the ideation. So this is where you can go in and put your ideas that you would like to see added to the product, any enhancement requests. You can go here to ideation, and then you can either click on ideation or you can go here to suggest an idea. I would definitely take a look at, whenever you can, all the ideas for all of our products get entered here. If there's anything that you want to see in any of our products, I would just take a look at everything, maybe search a few things, or kind of look at the top requested features and enhancements, see if that is something that would interest you. Then you can vote on them. You can, give them a like to show your support, leave a comment, something like that. And Andrew, you might want to talk a little bit about the process if you don't mind, but it is the product managers are very involved with this portion of the community.
Yeah, so I'll just add to that there's we, as product management team, we sort of get an aggregated view of that on a frequent basis, and we go through a process of reviewing those and sort of mapping those into our general roadmaps that help influence where we move the product. So and yeah, as Jamie said, it's all products are open for that type of input here on the community, so please use it.
Yeah, great.
And then just to add, you need to be a customer or a partner or luminary. If you come to the ideation area and you are a customer or partner or a luminary and you do not see the green button that says suggest an idea, then you can always open up a ticket. But if you're not a customer or partner, you won't have access to open up an idea.
Perfect. And then just really quick, here under support, we have the support updates block, which is where I communicate with all of you on things that are happening within Qlik support. Make sure you subscribe. That would be really great. And just you can get notifications on the blogs that come out. And like I said, it's product updates, it's product support programs or support programs that we do. Just kind of, whatever's happening within Qlik Global Support, we try to let you know. And then the last thing is just here under support programs. So support programs, there is a Talk to Experts Tuesday section here. This is where you can find the list or the schedule of all of our upcoming sessions. The list is right here. There is, I think we're scheduled out until June, so you can take a look at those, see if anything catches your eye. And then here under past events is where we actually post the recording transcript, and then there's a link to the FAQ. The FAQ just lives out here in the support knowledge base, so you can either come here to get the link, or you can just search the support knowledge base. You could just type Imprinting FAQ. We had a session last year. They are dated, so you can differentiate the two sessions from each other. All right, so nice little break from the questions. We'll jump right back into it. All right, so next question, do I need a license to set up a Qlik NPrinting dev server?
Yes. To use any of the I guess with Qlikview you could use the desktop 4 tries or something like that without a license, but no, but that would be considered personal edition, which by the way wouldn't be useful with Imprinting. But yes, you do need a license. You can.
You need a oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I was just going to say also if you have a Qlik account or partner manager, you can request a trial from that individual. I also posted that answer in the Q&A as well.
Perfect. Yep. So if you need a license or anything like that, like Frank said, just reach out to your account manager and they can help with that.
A trial.
Or trial, yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, trial license. All right,
real ones cost money.
Oh yeah, true that. Can we externalize scripts for Pixel Perfect templates?
Externalize.
Based on what I know, no. You have to use the Pixel Perfect scripting editor, and you can use C# or Visual Basic. And remember also that in latest versions, we introduced a flag to enable or disable the execution of scripting, Pixel Perfect scripting. So you have to be sure that that flag is enabled, and then use the Pixel Perfect editor to develop your script in the language that you prefer. But I never used an external script.
Okay, perfect. Let's see. Can charts from Qlikview be added to Pixel Perfect levels and display dynamic images in the report?
Sorry, you want to display dynamic images in a report, in a Pixel Perfect report? Yeah, so you can use, you have to give a check at the formatting rules, where under certain conditions, you can create a formula, and based on the value of the formula, an object is visible or not. So you can make visible an image or a row of a table or similar, but you have to use them inside a level, and you have to use the fields that you added on the level to create the condition. Otherwise, the condition is not calculated. But there are those formatting rules that can help in creating a kind of dynamic content where a part of the report is hide or unhide based on the result of the formula.
Okay, great. All right. So what is the roadmap for Imprinting? It seems to have been a while since we saw any new big features, just stability, bug fixes, and the odd enterprise feature.
Yeah, that's for me. So it's Andrew speaking. So our reporting roadmap in 2021 is focused on introducing reporting capabilities to our QlikSense on SaaS platform at the moment. Certainly, as you allude to there, what observation is that Imprinting is quite mature, right? And feedback from customers and partners is that it's quite stable these days. And we continue to monitor ideation for broad spanning features that sort of provide improvement to all customers. You can expect a maintenance release coming in May. And again, we continue to monitor forums and input from customers and partners to sort of set the subsequent releases in the year. So.
Perfect.
And also just to add to that too, there is, we're having a data analytics roadmap session scheduled for June 3rd. That is up on our events and webinars page. And I will share that link in the chat for everyone so you can register. You have to be a customer or partner or luminary to register, but it is scheduled. So Imprinting will be one of the roadmap topics since it's under the DA umbrella.
Perfect. Yep. And so as Andrew said too, just use that ideation, get your voice heard on what you would like to see with Imprinting. And like I said, take a look at the existing feature requests that are out there. And then if you don't see it, just go ahead and add. Send them, whenever you, and this goes for all products, whenever you create an ideation, go ahead and just send it to everyone, within your company that has access to the Qlik community. If they don't, have them create a Qlik community account. Why not? They can join in on the fun out in the community that we all have. But the more traction and the more eyes, the better that, the better odds you have of seeing that in a future release. So, yeah. All right. So next question, can we create and configure publish tasks through the API? We ran batch reports for different tasks.
I think Johnny answered that one.
Yeah, that's a no. You can't create a publish task through APIs. The only way to do it in a supported way is through the web console. Now, once you've configured the task, you could trigger it using an API call, and that's supported. There's a public API for that. So you can trigger the execution of a published task whenever you want using an API call. You just can't create it. You have to do that manually, the console. You can make it more dynamic. What I usually suggest is configure the task to distribute to a group. And then you could update the users in the group through an API call. So you could dynamically change who it's going to be sending it to from execution to execution. But changing like the report or the email template, or changing the name of the task, most of the tasks can't be changed or configured through an API endpoint.
Okay, great. Thank you, Johnny. And just a reminder, we have about 20 minutes left in the session. So if you've just joined us, use the Q&A panel to ask your questions, all Imprinting related, of course, and our experts are happy to answer. Let's go ahead and continue on. I was under the impression that clustered connections using DMS was supported on February 2021, but I am unable to get it working. Is my understanding correct? Thanks.
I just put an answer into that one, and the answer is yes, it should. However, there are important requirements, one of which is that, for example, when you first set up Qlikview, we require the use of the Qlikview administrators group rather than connecting through certificates. So if you're connecting through certificates, you'll have issues. We do need the Qlikview administrators group. I mean, that's one of the requirements, but again, there's a link I put in the Q&A, and just make sure you're following that, and it should then be working for you.
Perfect. And I went ahead and put the link in the chat for everyone as well.
Okay.
Let's see. Next
Thanks.
question. Can NPrinting run with a local service user and still connect to QlikSense? It seems to be a hard requirement that the NPrinting service user is also a domain user in order to connect to QlikSense.
It's a hard
Yes.
requirement, but it's necessary. Unfortunately, it's not possible to run the Imprinting services with a user that is not machine administrator.
And domain users to connect to Sense.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Let's see. I support NPrinting. I see object IDs on reports, but I'm not the developer of the QlikSense app. Is there a way to search for the object ID within an app when troubleshooting from NPrinting side? Putting options developer on the end and looking at each visual takes a long time when there are 10 plus sheets with 9 plus visuals per sheet.
Yeah, I think we keep getting that same question, and the answer is always the same. It's, you know, you have to do what Andrea put an answer into the chat, and I also gave a link to single configurator. So it's one of those two options, and yeah, there's not really any other way to do it. You know, it's unfortunately it is a one by one sort of a check. The single configurator might be better for you if you don't want to type options developer into the address bar, because you can check each app and all the objects and search for the objects by typing just a few letters, and you'll find that the search in the single configurator after you pick the app will find the object very quickly. So I would say I like using the signal configurator in QlikSense to find the object apps, the object IDs, pardon me.
Okay. Let's see. Is the feature to have NPrinting on demand button, iPad, and other mobile devices in the pipeline?
Yeah, I had answered that, and it's not planned at this time.
Okay. If it's not in community, go in the ideation section. I would go ahead and add that, just so it's on their radar. And you know, again, once you know ideas have traction, you can hope to see them in the future. Let's see. We host a global QlikSense, Qlikview, and NPrinting platforms with over 100 projects. Users are imported by the respective project developers using an import task. The developers are not granted administrator access on the NPrinting console, but they figured they could do this through import task. Is there a way to prevent that, and is there a plan to correct this?
So what do they want to prevent exactly?
Says the developers are not granted administrator access on the NPrinting console, but they figured out that they could do this through an import task, it sounds like.
Oh, I think Johnny answered that. And Johnny, you want to take that?
I missed the question. Sorry.
It's okay. It's a question about the developers are being granted or not granted administrator access on the Imprinting console, but that they've figured out a way they could do it through the import task. And so the person's asking, is there a way to prevent that and a plan to correct this?
Yeah, so you can definitely do that, but I need to ask how they're penetrating the security. Like, do they have access to the Excel spreadsheet that they can manipulate themselves? Or have you given them access
Right.
to edit import tasks? Like, where's the hole in the security?
Yeah. Yes.
And if you could tell me what that is, I mean, either the
Right.
solution will solve itself or I'll tell you how to fix it. But the way to deploy it in a lockdown facility is to make sure every user who has the ability to generate stuff, a developer user, does not have the ability to configure import tasks, does not have the ability to configure users or security roles. And this is all possible using either the out-of-box security roles or custom security roles. And then you can use import tasks to lock down which roles they're a member of and which groups they're a member of. So it's all possible, but you need more information. Maybe throw it into the community and share a bit more about what's going on.
That would be great. Yeah. Okay. And we did have a comment back on which, I forgot what question it is. Let me just scroll back up. I believe it was a question that you, Frank, had answered, and they said that thanks, we are using CERT, so that explains why it's not working.
Oh, the about the DMS not working.
I think so.
Yeah, I think that might be a good thing to readdress for the whole crowd here. Can you just sort of say the whole question and the answer, if you see that?
Let me try and find
It's a
it.
good point.
I was under the impression that clustered connections using DMS was supported on February 2021, but I'm unable to get it working. Is my understanding correct?
Right. So, and I happen to know the customer that posed that question, and I happen to know, I believe they were using certificates or had answered that. So in my experience with that individual, I understood that they were not using, I believe, not using the Qlikview administrators group. So it is important when you're trying to use some of this stuff that understanding the requirements is really going to be beneficial when you're building out your deployment. So in order for Imprinting cluster connections or server connections or whatever, to use DMS, you must use the Qlikview administrators group when you first install the Qlikview servers in your deployment. Qlikview certificates to communicate between servers won't work, unfortunately.
Gotcha. Great. Thank you, Frank. And all right, next question. A QlikSense developer is using Auto Calendar for their sales date field. They want a separate report for each year of data. There is no year field to cycle on. They use salesdata.autocalendar.year in the application. How can this be set up on the Imprinting side? They're on Imprinting June 2020 S1. I think, Johnny, you were kind of helping them with this.
Yeah, so the synthetic dimensions can't be used for this capability. You have to use you have to add a field to the data model just to be able to do that.
Okay. Perfect. All right, next question. We're just running through them. Let's go. QlikSense tables do not export totals, and Qlik pivot tables are not supported as table. Will the pivot table be allowed as a table in Imprinting at some point, or will the QlikSense table chart export totals at some point? They're on June 2020 SR1 of Imprinting.
I don't know, you guys, should we hear that again?
Yeah,
I think we should hear that.
Yes,
Johnny added a comment around that he has experience with Vislib QlikSense pivot table extensions to accomplish this, but that QlikSense, the native QlikSense pivot table doesn't do this, and no planned updates at this point.
So again, if it's something you would like to see, go ahead and put it out on Ideation and share that link. All right. Let's see. Is there a good tutorial to create a customer report service level agreement for customers by Imprinting? So something that looks excellent, or can someone give me an example or heads up?
I think they want
There is an example in the community. There is a PDF with a complete tutorial about the creation of a pixel perfect report that has charts, tables, and more or less the most used feature of pixel perfect. I linked in the answer the community post where it is published, and that is only related to pixel perfect, but I think it is a good starting point to showcase the capabilities of Imprinting.
Okay. Can we get that link so we can share it with everyone, Rochelle?
Yes, let me find the link again.
Yeah, just take your time. All right. So with the current focus on a reporting function in the SaaS platform, is Imprinting expected to benefit from this, the web client, designer, etc.?
Designer. So the QlikSense on SaaS platform is a different technology stack. Imprinting is our on-premise add-on product reporting capability. It supports QlikSense on Windows on-premise and Qlikview on-premise. So they are different technology stacks. Imprinting remains our on-premise reporting capability, and then the integrated reporting into the QlikSense on SaaS platform is fully integrated into a new technology stack. So they are independent paths in that sense.
Perfect. All right. So Andre, it looks like you're answering this one right now, but image sizing in PowerPoint reports is very difficult to understand. Developers are getting angry with me for not being able to provide an exact answer. Following the instructions on help is not helping. Can the experts provide something better online?
Yeah, I understand. I understand the problem. In fact, it's sometimes quite difficult. On the other side, we have some options to do this. One of the most powerful is to use display height, display length in pixel, so that you can say exactly how many pixels in length and height you want to import of the image in QlikSense. To get the real value, a system that I use normally is to just take a screenshot of the image in QlikSense, put it into Paint, and select it. So you see the size of the image in pixels, and you can keep it as a ratio. Then normally it's necessary to perform a couple of tests manually, but you can get the image correctly, so you can import the complete image in PowerPoint and resize it using, yeah.
So are you which specific, just maybe be clear about which specific setting, like auto, fit inside, or use the cell, cell height width.
Yeah, you
Pixels.
can use fit inside, stretch, etc. Normally stretch is the best option. But I guess the problem in this case is that when you import the image, sometimes it's cropped, cut, it's not complete. Mm-hmm. And to have a complete image, you can use data display width and data display height, so that you enlarge the quantity of the image that it is imported in Imprinting. And when you have it, you have your correct image, and then you can resize it using the normal pixel perfect features. The normal PowerPoint features.
Okay, perfect. Hopefully that helps and your developers won't be angry at you anymore. All right.
Much.
So I have already looked into it, but I don't get the single failed reports inside a task. Only a task has a warning failed status.
I think that's a follow-on from another thread around a use case with the audit trail. I think that Ruggiero madly typing away on.
Okay, perfect. All right, so next question. Is there an additional requirement to get the data into the visuals within Imprinting? Currently, I just see empty visuals when I create Imprinting email reports. Is there an additional configuration step that I missed? If not, I probably need to check the filtering again with my apps, within my
Well,
apps.
first I would want to know if they're actually previewing the report successfully. Is there any data in when you're doing a preview? So before you get to a published task, you should be attempting to preview. And if your data set is large, you should be previewing with a report filter attached to it. So you mitigate the amount of time that it takes to preview the report. So if you're using supported visualizations, not third-party extensions that we have no idea about, or if you're using ClickSense built-in visualizations, just make sure you're previewing it first. Right-click on the table or image object in the template editor, pick an image from the list, and then drag that over to the template editor. These are some finer detail steps because I'm not sure if you're actually, and this has happened where you're actually trying to deliver a report, but there's actually no objects in the template. So it's a common mistake, so don't worry. But you may need to go back an extra step and actually add a few objects to the report if you haven't done so, and if you have, make sure you're previewing it to make sure that you're getting something in the preview.
Okay, great. All right, last call for questions. We only have a few minutes left, 3 to be exact. So just once again, you know, everything is going to be posted out in the Qlik community. There will be a blog post about it. The FAQ will be in the support knowledge base, and the recording and the transcript, along with the link to the FAQ, will be in the Talk to Experts Tuesday public program page. All right. When would it be possible to duplicate published tasks? Is there anything on the roadmap?
No, there's no plan for that at this point. By all means, add it to the ideation session, but not planned at this point.
Okay, no problem. All right, let's see. I think that was the last question. If you have any more questions, go ahead and get them on in. We can put them in the FAQ for everyone. With that, though, I think I'll go ahead and just kind of close everything out. So I hope everyone found this hour helpful. You all asked some really amazing questions, so thank you for that. And like I said, it'll be posted in the FAQ. And let's see, you will be prompted for the survey. So please take a minute to fill that out. It really does help us, you know what we can do to improve these sessions, as well as give us different ideas for topics or things that you would like to see in the future. So if you're not prompted, you can go ahead and email us at digital. Let me put that in the chat. It's digital@qlik.com. So you can email us there to let us know if you don't get prompted for that survey. Our next session is on March 23rd, and it's about Qlik connectors and web connectors. And then also on March 18th, so a few days before that, there's going to be a Support Techspert Thursday on Qlik connectors best practices. So towards the end of the month, we'll be focusing a lot on Qlik connectors. If you're unaware, our web connectors just went from a premium to standard, so they're all included. So that's pretty cool. If you don't know too much about the Qlik connectors or web connectors and you want to learn a little bit more, hopefully you can join those sessions. So thank you once again to all of my panelists, Andrea and Frank, Ruggiero, Johnny, and Andrew. And on behalf of Qlik support and Qlik community, thank you everyone for joining us, and we'll see you again in 2 weeks.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.